Hey everyone, it's Lindsay and I am back today with a video tutorial on creating a storybook scene. So the first thing I did was I cut a piece of white cardstock with the Crazy Stitched Frames die, the largest rectangle from white cardstock. Now I'm going to be using this magical unicorn stamp set. It's brand new from Craft and Desert Divas. And this is the set I've been waiting on to do this type of card. I've wanted to create a kind of storybook scene on a card for a while now. I just haven't found the right stamp set to do that. So whenever I seen this, I knew I wanted to use it. So I pulled that out, and I also pulled out the Build a Scene stamp set. Now I went ahead and I grabbed that grass stamp from the stamp set, and I am just going to stamp that down onto my cardstock with some black dye ink. Now I'm using my Misty today, so I'm going to give it a double stamping here just because I can. And then I'm going to go ahead and use this little unicorn that's in the set, and he's got one of his little front hooves up so it looks like he's walking through the grass. Now I went ahead and I had this placed first before I even stamped that grass, so I knew exactly where I needed to stamp my grass on my card base. Now I went ahead and masked off that grass as well before I went ahead and stamped my unicorn. So I did have that mask already prepared from Inkadinkadoo masking paper, and I also made a mask of my unicorn that I was using from the same masking paper beforehand as well. I'll go ahead and put that mask down now, and I just need to bring in this last little stamp here, and this is the tree. This is also from the Build a Scene stamp set from Craft and Desert Divas, and I'm just going to line this right up over that unicorn. Go ahead and pick it up with my Misty, and I'll give this a double stamping as well with my black dye ink. Now I am keeping all these stamps pretty squished together in this scene. That's just how I envision a storybook. If you envision it some other way, you can always spread these out a little bit. This is just how I look at it, like those old storybooks that I used to read as a little girl, the Grimm's fairy tales, that kind of thing. The pictures were always very squished together, and then they also had the words right underneath the pictures. So that's where I'm going to stamp my sentiment. Now this sentiment is hilarious. It is included in the stamp set, and it starts out as a poem. So you'll see once I stamp it exactly what it says. But it starts as a poem, very nice. Sugar is sweet, lemons are tart, I love you more than a unicorn fart. So it's very sweet at the beginning, and then it just goes into a very funny sentiment that my kids crack up over when they see. I crack up over it when I see it. So I hope you find it funny too. But I need to go ahead and color in my scene now. Whenever I think of kind of a storybook or fairy tale colored scene, I think of very light, fading into white, that type of coloring, and I've never been able to achieve this look with my alcohol markers, with my watercolors, with my colored pencils. I just can't do it. So one day I was digging through my craft supplies, and I found these very old, they're like 9 years old, chalks from Stampin' Up! That I hadn't used in forever. I bought a new blender pen, and I just colored with them. I'll go ahead and I will leave that link to the other video where I go more in depth with these. I'll leave that down in the description box, and it's just a very easy way for me to achieve this very soft look with my coloring. So I am using that along with my blender pen just to quickly color in this scene, and again I am fading these all off into white, and that's just how I think of when I think a storybook scene. So I'm keeping it very light and a lot of white really still in this picture. And it just kind of gives the suggestion of colors, I guess you could say. So while my tree isn't exactly green all the way around it, it gives the suggestion of that just by having that really deep green right in the shadows. Now I also added some blue all around the entire scene, and again I faded this very much off into the white background just to keep that very soft look, but I wanted to give that effect of a sky as well. And if you even want more control, I would suggest coloring on watercolor paper. I went ahead and just used regular cardstock. You just need to be a little bit more careful with how much of this Dove blender liquid you put down on there, because you will end up with some end up with some pilling if you're not too careful. So once the coloring was completely done and dry, I went ahead and just added adhesive onto the back of this die cut panel, and I'm just going to place it straight down onto an A2 top folding white card base, and I'm going to leave this card as is. You can add embellishments if you want, but I really wanted this to look like I tore out a storybook page, die cut it, and just slapped it on a card front. So that finishes off my card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video tutorial, and as always, I will leave you with these finished pictures. For more information and the supply list, you can head over to my blog. I will leave that link in the description box below. Thank you guys for watching today, and happy crafting!